Okay. So first of all, let's go through the course content that will be covered throughout the all the sessions of this course. Okay. So let me start sharing my screen. Please let me know once the screen is visible to you all. Is the screen visible to everyone? Is my screen visible? I think everyone is on mute. Someone can respond if the screen is visible. Okay. Yeah, I hope the screen is visible to you all. So let's start with this is the discussion, that is the course content first, that will be covered throughout this Power BI training sessions. So first we'll start with the introduction to Power BI, and wherein we'll first understand how to uh, install the Power BI first, okay, and then we'll understand what is meant by BI, that is business intelligence, and how the BI operations go throughout the different organizations. Okay, and we'll try to understand the high level BI architecture of the data analysis. Okay, and then we'll understand about the Power BI. Okay, this will start with the Power BI, and then we'll importantly start with the building blocks of Power BI and components of Power BI. Okay, and how the overall GUI of the Power BI looks like. Okay, so this is the introduction to Power BI, and once we are done with this, we'll go on to start with the ETL tool of Power BI, that is the Power Query Editor. Okay, and this whole second part belongs to the Power Query Editor. Now, as I said, Power Query Editor is the ETL tool of Power BI, which is responsible for extract, transforming, and loading the data. Okay, and here we'll try to understand how to bring the data from different sources into the Power BI. And these include the sources such as relational database management systems like SQL, or maybe MySQL, Oracle, okay? Or we can bring the data from some of the Excel sheets, CSV files, okay? And we'll also try to understand how to bring the data from the websites, okay? So once we're done with that, we will look into what are the different storage modes when it comes to storing the data in Power BI. And when I say the storage modes, what I mean exactly is the direct query mode, the import mode, and there's also one more thing called as live connection. So how these things work in Power BI, we'll try to understand that in very much detail. Okay. And then once we're done with bringing the data into Power BI, we'll try to understand what are the different ETL functions that are available within the ETL tool of Power BI, that is Power Query Editor. So we'll try to understand how to clean the data, how to modify the data, how to manipulate the data, how to uh, basically uh, bring the data into the way we want in the format, okay, by applying various uh, transforming functions like removing the unwanted columns, rows, cleaning, trimming, and creating new calculated columns, maybe creating aggregate tables, okay, and establishing the data types, okay, replacing the values, how to handle the nulls and errors, okay, how to do the pivoting and unpivoting, what is meant by pivoting and unpivoting, okay, So all these things we'll be learning in the Power Query editor part, that is getting the data and transforming the data in Power BI. Okay. And once we're done with it, we will move on to when we actually think that our data is clean and ready to use for making a dashboard. Then we'll move on to the next part. And the next part is called the data modeling in Power BI. So here, within this particular section, we'll try to understand uh, what the data warehouse concepts are. Okay. And when I say the warehouse concepts, I mean some of the things like we'll try to understand what is meant by primary key, what is meant by foreign key. Okay. And we'll try to understand what is meant by the fact tables, dimension tables. How do we connect the fact tables and dimension tables? What are the different schemas that are available in the data modeling within Power BI? Okay. What are the uh, different kind of cardinalities, that is one to one, one to many to many. Okay, and what are the filter flow directions and how to uh, activate and deactivate the filters or cardinalities. All these things we'll understand in this particular section. And uh, let's say if we have many to many relationships in Power BI and we want to overcome the disadvantage of that, how to do that, even that we are going to understand in this particular section, that is data modeling in Power BI. Okay. So once we are done with it, then we'll try to understand uh, the types of visualizations or the kind of customizations that is possible in terms of data visualizations in Power BI. So in this section, we'll basically try to understand uh, what kind of reporting that can be done in Power BI basically. And when I say the reports, I mean the report that includes various pages, and each page will tell you a particular story based on the type of visuals that they have there. Okay, so we'll try to understand different visuals like the bar charts, the column charts, the map charts, the pie charts, the donut charts, the line chart. Okay, and yeah, the also the a bit complex visuals like the waterfall chart, the ribbon chart. Okay, so all these things we'll try to understand in the data visualization part. And not just that, there are different options in visualizations that make your data more customizable to view. And
Your voice is not, I'm not audible to you.
hello, am I not audible? Just a second. Am I audible or not? Can anyone respond, please? Hello, am I audible or am I not? Can someone please respond? Okay, thanks. Yeah, so what I was explaining was the course content of the Power BI. Let me just go back to that. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, apart from the different visuals, there are different options within Power BI that make the data more customizable to be viewed. And these options include the things like the bookmarks, the slicers, the edit interactions, okay, and the fields parameters. So everything, all these things we'll be discussing in data visualization part. So this is a part actually where you'll be able to uh, build the visuals, make the reporting as a whole. Okay, so that is about the data visualization. And yeah, once we're done with that, we'll also move with the very important part within Power BI that is called as the DAX. The DAX stands for Data Analysis Expressions. And data analysis expressions, we can say that it is the front end coding engine of Power BI. Okay, it is the front end coding language or coding engine of Power BI. Okay, and basically via DAX, you can do two things. One is you can do the calculated columns and you can also create the measures. We'll try to understand what is the difference between the calculated columns, what are the difference between the measures, how the uh, basic syntax of the DAX looks like. Okay, what are
Please unmute yourself. I'm not audible to you.
uh, am I not audible? Actually, I am audible, right? I have not muted myself. Can anyone please confirm? Or maybe you need to increase the volume of your PC. Can you just check with that? Can anyone else speak? Let me unmute some of you guys. Okay, I am audible. Yeah, I have not muted myself. I think you might want to increase the volume, please. Yeah. Okay. So let me just continue. There's no message here. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, we were talking about the DAX part. Okay. So we'll try to understand the difference between the calculated columns, the measures, and the basic syntax that involves while creating the DAX formulae. Okay. And then we'll try to understand the different kind of the operators, the functions that are available within the DAX for us to create the calculated columns and measures. For example, the aggregate functions like the sum, sumx, then the average. Okay, so max, min, all these kind of functions is the basic functions that we'll start with, and then we'll move on to some of the condition handling functions like if function, the switch function, the different version of count functions, and then we'll try to understand the calculate function wherein it calculates any expression by applying certain filters. Okay, and also we'll try to understand what are the filter modifiers like all selected, all except, okay, selected value, and then we'll try to understand what are the table generating functions, what are functions related to the date table generating functions, the calendar functions, and then we'll also cover the time intelligence functions. Okay, basically, time intelligence functions are the ones which will help you get the data from different time period or maybe aggregate the data from different time period compared to present time period. Okay, so yeah, and also we'll try to understand how to use the summarize function to get the group by tables or maybe the aggregate tables. Okay, and we'll try to understand what are the variables while doing the DAX. Okay, and also the quick measures. So basically, this DAX session is going to be very much elaborate because believe me when I say your
Huh?
ability in Power BI very much depends on how much good you are in DAX. As simple as that.
Huh?
Uh, because let me mute all of you. I think there's some different. Okay, yeah, right. So yeah, what I was saying is when it comes to DAX, believe me, DAX is very much important and based on your ability in DAX, uh, the customization, what you can do in Power BI, it very much depends on your DAX capabilities. Okay. So yeah, this is very important. the most important thing within Power BI that you can be sure of. Okay. And once we're done with it, we will try to understand what is meant by the Power BI service, which is the cloud platform available for you to share and collaborate your work in Power BI with. Okay. And in here, we'll try to understand what is the Power BI service and how it works compared to Power BI desktop. Okay. And what are the different licensing options that are available within Power BI service? That is, what is free license, what is pro license, what is premium license. Okay. And then we'll try to understand how to create the workspaces, how to publish our reports, how to create the dashboards, applications, gateways, what are the different types of gateways, that is the standard gateway and the personal gateway, how to schedule the refresh by using the gateways within Power BI, and we'll try to understand what is meant by row level security, what is meant by the incremental refresh, okay, how to implement RLS and incremental refresh within Power BI service, okay, and we'll try to understand what is meant by data flows, okay, and yeah, we'll try to understand the difference between the reports and dashboards, how to create the apps, okay, and yeah, so this is all of the Power BI service, which will be actually the end of the Power BI course. And once this is done, we'll try to discuss the conceptual as well as the scenario based interview questions that are often asked in the Power BI interviews. Okay, and yes, when this course goes on, simultaneously we will be doing. I mean, we'll be creating uh, two dashboards parallelly from end to end by using the different data sources. Okay, one dashboard we will be creating while doing the classes, which will be the part of classwork, and another dashboard you will create on your own, which will be the part of the assignments. Okay, so this is what the course content will look like. And to be very frank, it will take almost 30 plus hours, or basically 30 plus classes for it to get completed in an elaborate way. Okay, so yeah, any doubts or questions based on this till now? Yeah.
Hello, sir. Sir, so that connectivity part also included in this course or no? Yeah.
Uh,
To fetch
Connectivity.
data,
Come again?
yeah, to fetch data from curated layer to in this Power BI.
You what you mean is the connection of the tables, right?
No, that ETL part, like we are
Okay.
fetching data from curated layer to this Power BI dashboard. No? So those
Uh-huh.
connectivity, the connection between Power BI and that curated layer, that
You
connection
mean
I'm
the way we get the data from the source to Power
source,
BI? Yeah.
right?
So as far as the connection of the data with different sources is concerned, we'll be discussing how to get the data from different databases. Like, let's say, for example, there is SQL, right? How to do the connection between
Uh,
SQL and Power BI, and I'll also show how to do the connection between MySQL and Power BI, and then we'll understand how to bring the data from, let's say, Excel file, CSV file. So all these things we'll be discussing. Okay, and once we are able to connect the data with any one database, the thing is the connection with the rest of the database is also quite similar. It's nothing much different compared to others. Hope that clears
no,
the picture.
no. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else, people? Okay. So let's start with the introduction part. Okay. So first of all, as far as installing the Power BI in your systems is concerned, it's quite simple. Okay, all you need to do is you need to go to the marketplace within this thing in your computer. Okay, and there in the search bar, you need to type Microsoft Power BI. Okay, so basically, yeah, the Power BI you can type, and then you will get the results the Power BI desktop, okay? And in my case, it is showing open, but if you have not installed this in your system, it will say install, okay? So once you click on install, it is quite a very straightforward process. You just need to click on next, next, next. It will not ask for any key or the code. So it's a free software. Okay, the Power BI desktop is a free software. And yes, if you want to sign into Power BI desktop, or basically if you want to sign into Power BI service, then you need to create the work email address, okay, which also I will send you a link on how to do that. So that's also quite a process. Okay, so that also can be done. Okay, so this is how you install the Power BI desktop. Just click on type this on your search bar of the marketplace, and then you click on install and just go on clicking next, next, next. That it's that simple. Okay, so this is about the installation of Power BI. Okay, now let's try to understand what the business intelligence actually means, and we'll try to understand also the high level BI architecture of how the operations happen in different organizations. Okay, so we'll start with this. So yeah, so if you look at this particular picture, you'll get to know what exactly the BI is. So if you look at the left hand side picture, so what this is it's a simple spreadsheet or the table, and just by the look of it, you'll not be able to understand anything that's going on here. All you can see is some of the columns. Maybe you can understand that some of these columns are the names, some of the columns are containing the numbers, but apart from that, you'll not be able to figure out any trends or any analysis that is happening out here just by looking at it. However, once you do the analysis on this and do the reporting like this based on this kind of data set, then ultimately when you come up with these kind of visuals, you will certainly able to interpret the data just by looking into these visuals. For example, if you look at this particular visual, what it says, the top products with YTD sales. Okay, so these are the top products, like the staple envelope are the ones which are listed here. So this is the highest, this is the lowest among the top 5. Okay, and if you look at this visual, it shows the geographical distribution of the sales by different states in USA. Okay, and similarly here it gives you the trend graph of YTD sales. Okay, and what value it currently has, and also the fact that whether the current value is increasing or decreasing. Okay, so this kind of reporting will try to, will help you make understand what data actually is giving you the clue about. Okay, and based on this, you'll be able to make the decisions, or importantly, the business decisions. Yeah. So this is what the the BI is all about. So it is taking the raw data, okay, or the source data is what we call it, and then converting that to the data which is useful for the business end to make their decisions. So this is what the business intelligence in the uh, higher level. Okay, so we'll try to understand further, that in further bit detail. Okay, so I think someone is trying to draw this. I'm not sure who. Please don't do it. Okay. Nonetheless, we'll, yeah. Okay. So we'll try to understand what the high-level architecture of business intelligence actually looks like. Okay, so here, if you look at this particular figure, so what it says, on the leftmost part, you can see the sources of data. So the sources, or basically the data, might come from different sources, like there might be some RDBMS system, the relation database management systems, which might be, let's say, the Oracle, it might be SQL SQL Server, maybe MySQL, or maybe something else like the Postgre server. Okay, so it can be any database management system. Okay, or it might be a simple Excel or flat text file, or it might be something like some other source like the SAP source, or some source might be the website itself. Okay, so what the first step in BI is that you need to get the data from all the sources, and you need to bring that in this particular thing which is called as stage. Okay, and in stage environment, what happens is ETL. What is ETL? ETL stands for extract, transform, load. Okay, and important thing to be understood here is that when we talk about an organization with the standard BI operations or BI related projects, there won't be just the BI tools like Power BI and Tableau, but also there'll be the tools which will be dedicated specifically for doing the ETL. Okay, there'll be tools like Azure Synapse Data Lake, there'll be tools like Informatica, and maybe Azure Data Factory. Okay, so all these tools which I mentioned, these are the dedicated tools to do the extract, transform, load. And basically what happens in ETL is the data in raw form is converted to the data in uniform form. Basically, we keep only the records that we need. We keep only the columns that we need. We keep only the tables that we need. And ultimately, the clean data, or the data which is ready for the analysis, comes out of this ETL stage. Okay. And once the ETL is done, this is brought into the central repository, which is called as data warehouse. Now, what is data warehouse? Data warehouse again is a set of tools and techniques, okay, that is created within an organization, and it acts as a central repository to store the data. Okay, in some of the organizations, the data warehouse might be the SQL server itself. In some of the organizations, they might be using the Oracle DB, or somewhere they might be using even the Azure Synapse Data Lake. Okay, and data related to all the domain will come into this big data warehouse. Okay, and ultimately, based on what kind of dashboard or what kind of reporting you are doing, or what the domain based on which the report you are doing, you create the subset of the data warehouse. Now, when I say the subset of the data warehouse, what I mean is, out of the number of tables, or out of, let's say, one big fact table, you get only some column out of it, some columns out of it, or maybe some other informations out of different tables, and you get only the data that you need to create a particular analysis on the domain that you are involved in. Let's say you are creating a sales dashboard. So out of this whole data warehouse, you just pick up the information or the data related to sales. Okay, and these subsets are called as data marts. Okay, so you pick these data marts, and ultimately you bring them in your BI tools. And when I say BI tools, I mean the tools like Power BI, Tableau, Grafana, Spotfire, or maybe the ClickSense. There are many dedicated tools to do the business intelligence. So ultimately, the reporting, okay, or the dashboard creation happens within these BI tools. Okay. And one more important thing to be understood, the BI tools nowadays, they also come with their own inbuilt ETL capabilities. Although the ETL capabilities of the BI tools might not be as good as the dedicated ETL tools. However, let's say some of the steps or some of the transformation steps have been missed while doing ETL, those can definitely be completed while doing while creating the dashboard within the BI tool itself. For example, in Power BI, you again have a dedicated ETL tool in Power BI, which is Power Query Editor. So some transformation you miss here, you can definitely complete that in Power BI. Okay. So this is what the high-level architecture of the business intelligence that goes on across various organizations looks like. Okay. So any doubt with respect to this, people? Anyone?
That ETL tool name, sorry, sir. The Power Query.
The ETL tool within Power BI. Okay. It's called Power Query Editor.
Power Query Editor. Okay.
Power Query
So
Editor.
there we are writing simple SQL transformation.
No, we are not writing the SQL transformations there. We are using the GUI, okay, graphical user interface, to just mm, do some
Drag
transformation.
and drop.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can't write SQL query on that BI to
We
Power
can
BI.
write the SQL queries in Power BI. We definitely can write the SQL queries within Power BI, and I'll show you where, okay? But
Okay.
it doesn't mean you wish to write the whole, let's say, stored
Logic.
procedure within Power BI, okay?
Right.
You can write the SQL query like, let's say you can create the joins, and you can write all the SQL query, but usually what we do is we use Power Query Editor if we want to do some transformations. However, one more important thing to be noted is that if you are very good in doing the transformations through the SQL query itself, then it is always advised to do or to complete all those transformations within SQL query itself and bring the ready-made data into the Power BI. What it does is it brings the load or memory load onto Power BI to much lower level. Okay, so it relieves Power BI of all the memory constraints. Your data model will be more optimized if you handle every ETL work in the backend. Hope that is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. So this is all about the high-level data architecture of the business intelligence. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so yeah, if we talk more in detail about this particular thing, that is, the data warehouse and the data marts. So as I said, the data warehouse is the central repository which will be having every data related to the organization, okay? And it might be having the raw data, it might be having the data in the summarized form. The metadata is actually the information about the data itself, okay? And it might be having the historical data, the archived data, the dynamic data as well. So out of everything that it has in it, we create the subsets of the data based on the domain that we are working on. And these subsets, we call it as data marts. Okay. So this is what it's all about. Okay. Now, so ultimately, when it comes to BI, why the BI is required? Okay. The BI is required because the raw data, or the data which is in spreadsheets or maybe the Excel sheet form or maybe even the RDBMS form, is actually hard to read and draw conclusions from. Obviously, you can definitely read it, you can go on reading the values, but that doesn't make sense to you or without any calculations. Okay, and ultimately you cannot come up with any conclusions just by look at those spreadsheets. So that's the reason the BI tools are used to convert this raw data into the data in the business form, okay, or the visual form, which will be helpful for business end to draw the conclusions from. And not just to draw the conclusions from, there are some tools which will help you make the forecast as well. Forecast in the sense predicting the future values as well. So that's the reason the BI tools are necessary, and sample BI tools are like this. There's Power BI, there is Tableau, there is ClickView, Alteryx, Microsoft BI, there's SAP BI, and there's also a dedicated BI tool from the IBM themselves. So yeah, so there are various BI tools, but currently when we talk about the market, Power BI is the one which has, we can say, highest demand among all the business players, and there are certain reasons to it. Okay, mainly Power BI. If we talk about Power BI over the last maybe 5-6 years, it has developed more demand compared to rest of the BI tools, mainly due to the way it integrates with everything else. For example, if we talk about Power BI, it can connect to more than 100 different data sources from the backend, and the connections are readily available. They are not even the third-party connections. You can connect to them directly by being in Power BI itself. Okay, so that is one of the thing. And also the Power BI, it has integration with Microsoft's other tools like Outlook. There's also Microsoft Teams, and it also has the integration with Power BI. And ultimately, what the important thing to be noted here is that Microsoft actually presents Power BI as a BI solution. It doesn't present Power BI as just a tool. Okay, it presents it as a complete BI solution. That is, you can create the dashboards or reports in Power BI Desktop, and it is also integrated with Power BI Service. So immediately you'll be able to publish your report in the cloud-based application that is Power BI Service. So if you see here, it's a complete solution of the business intelligence. You can create the report offline by being in your desktop, and ultimately once the report is complete, you can publish it in Power BI Service. So it's not just a tool, it's just a complete, we can say, the BI solution. Okay, and apart from that, we have the Power BI mobile app as well. However, it is important to note that the Power BI mobile app is used rarely even to view the reports or dashboards. Forget about creating anything over the Power BI mobile app, but even the business, and they also don't prefer this mobile app even to review it. Okay, they usually uh, use Power BI desktop itself. Okay, and yeah, there are again the components like Power BI servers. Let's say if you're working on a server computer, you'll be having the Power BI server. Okay, through which you'll feed the Power BI to other desktops as well. Okay, and then there is one more tool, that is Power BI Report Builder, which will help you build the paginated reports. And the paginated reports are the reports which will get fit into one single page. Okay, and this Power BI Report Builder is very much similar to another similar tool from Microsoft, which is called as SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services. Okay, so it is almost the same. Power BI Report Builder and SSRS is very much same. However, what we will be covering as a part of this course is Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service, because these are the important things the organization that usually deal with. These things they don't work with, although they might work with Power BI Report Builder. But again, in order to understand the Power BI Report Builder, it's a completely different tool again. So yeah, we will discuss only Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service as a part of our course.
So, sir,
So,
like actual report we are creating on Power BI desktop or this reporter builder.
no, we are creating on desktop. Okay.
Okay, and that you are saying paging report we are creating or report Power BI reporter report builder, right?
Paginated reports. Okay,
So,
and
any difference?
come again.
Any difference between those actual report or
Yeah, I'll tell
paginated
you what.
report?
Okay, look, see, the report that we create in Power BI Desktop or any BI tool, it looks like this. Okay, so if you see here, this report might be having many pages. Okay, one page shows you this whole thing, then there might be some other pages with another visuals. Okay, so this is normal reporting, which is available in Power BI as well as other tools like the Tableau and rest of the BI tools. However, you might have also seen the reports, like, for example, let me give you, uh, have you seen the, have you seen the result sheets that they post on the notice boards? right?
Yeah.
What they look like, they will be just having the numbers. They won't be having the visuals, but they will be single sheets with all the details, right? So paginated reports are those kind of reports which will be having mostly the numbers and not the visualizations. Am I clear on that now? So those kind of
Okay.
reports, we call it as paginated reports. Okay. Yeah. Any other doubts, people? Okay. So moving ahead. Okay. So
Just I want to, sir,
yeah, please
can
go
we
ahead.
connect to different sources like Excel, SQL at a time and get the visualization done?
Yes, yes, definitely. We can do that.
Okay.
You can connect to different sources at the same time, okay, and create the report in one single platform, that is Power BI. Okay.
Okay.
That was the question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that you can definitely do. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, let's try to understand what can be done within the different components of Power BI. Okay. So when it comes to Power BI Desktop is the uh, local application that you can install in your system. Okay. And within Power BI Desktop, you can get the data, clean and transform the data, model the data by establishing the schemas, the cardinalities. Okay. And then ultimately you can visualize and analyze the data. Basically, the meaning is you can build the reports within Power BI Desktop from any kind of data source. So that is the bottom line of it. Okay. When it comes to Power BI Service, in Power BI Service, although you can do some portion of it, but mainly Power BI Service, which is a cloud platform, is dedicatedly used for publishing, sharing, and collaborating the work that you did within Power BI Desktop. Okay, so that's the main thing that happens within Power BI Service. Although you can create the reports in Power BI Service as well, its capabilities will be limited compared to Power BI Desktop. Hence, we always create the reports within Power BI Desktop, and once the reports are done, we publish, share, and collaborate those in Power BI Service, which is a cloud platform. Okay, or we can say this is also the web application. Okay, it's like that. Then, when it comes to Power BI mobile application, so as I said, it is not used for developing anything. It can be used for reviewing the content at max. Okay, reviewing in the sense just analyzing the content which has been created by someone else. You can view the report, but even then it will be much of a hassle viewing the reports in the mobile phone. It is because your reports will be bigger with so much of the data, and there'll be so many numbers like this. So analyzing all these things in mobile, it's much of a hassle. So mostly the business and what they do, they review the content within Power BI service itself. Okay, so this is about the components of basically the different components of Power BI. Okay, now we'll try to understand the building blocks of Power BI. And the reason I'm mentioning this separately is because in one of the interviews, they had asked, what are the different building blocks of Power BI? This seems like a very generic question, but nonetheless, they might even ask you this. So the building blocks of Power BI are data sets. Now, data sets are basically the files which have the data within it. The data sets might be in the form of the SQL database. The data sets might be in the form of the Excel sheet or CSV sheet, okay, or maybe Access database or anything which has data within it. We can call it as the data set. Then the visualizations. What are the visualizations? All these things which you're seeing here, these are the visualizations. For example, this is a donut chart. This is a column chart. This is a line graph. So all these things are different visualizations. So these are the visualizations. And the tiles in the sense, each visual comes with its own tile. Okay, so this tile belongs to the donut chart. This tile belongs to the column chart. this style belongs to the tree map. Okay, so each visual has its own tile dedicated to it. So that is about the tiles and the reports. Reports in the sense, this whole thing, this whole file consisting of so many pages here, this whole thing can be called as one report. Okay, a report can consist of many pages. Okay, a report can consist of many pages is what you need to understand. Okay, and then ultimately the dashboards. Okay, see what happens is that in business intelligence, the people who work in the business intelligence, they refer to reports and dashboard synonymously. Means, they randomly use these terms, reports or dashboards, and rightly so, because both look the same. But when it comes to Power BI, or importantly Power BI service, reports are different compared to dashboards. Okay, so the main difference is that dashboard contains the visuals from different reports, and also dashboard has only one single page. Okay, nonetheless, we'll discuss in detail how to create the reports, dashboards. Okay, and we'll see what the dashboards actually will look like and how they are created from the reports. But right now, you just know that these are the building blocks of Power BI: the data sets, visualizations, tiles, reports, and dashboards. Okay, so yeah, so let's let's go to the next steps in the next class. But yeah, let me just tell you how these class sessions will work. Okay, so usually what we do is we start with the Power BI desktop itself, whether be it any stage of what we are here, be it Power Query Editor, or maybe visualization, or maybe the DAX. Okay, in class we will do all these functions. Okay, and then after the class is done, I will share with you the class files. Okay, class files I'll share because you'll also have to repeat what, you can also repeat what is done in the class by yourself. Okay, and along with the class file, I'll also share the assignments. Okay, and the assignments is what you have to do on your own. And for the assignments, after every class, I'll be providing the data sets as well as the assignment questions. So this is how these classes will work. In the class, there'll be the classwork, and also there'll be assignments for your own practice. So this is how these sessions will work. Okay, and yeah, so this is what the syllabus will look like. And as I said earlier, the course, for it to complete, it will take a minimum of 30 classes. I think 30 plus classes. Okay, and that will happen over a period of 40 to 45 days is what happens usually. Okay, so any doubt from anyone, people?
So, sir, as a data analyst, but which kind of requirement you are getting in day to day, and yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what I basically do. Okay, so look, I work for, currently I work for the project which deals with the manufacturing firms. Okay, so the data that I will get, okay, will be in the form of the Excel sheets. Okay, and my ETL team, what they do is they create, they convert those Excel sheets and they bring them into SQL Server. Okay, and within the Synapse Lake, what they do is they clean the data, and ultimately we get the values into, or basically the data sets which are ready to use, or the views from Synapse Data Lake. Those views we get into Power BI, and ultimately we create the analysis and the dashboard there. Okay, and we will show them the kind of metrics or visualizations which are helpful for the site engineers. Like, let's say, for example, amongst the operations that are currently going on, okay, what's the status, what's the current status, okay, or let's say currently a particular project is going on. Okay, within the project, there'll be the forecasted values, the actual values, the baseline values. How are all these values currently compared to each other? So these kind of yeah, the line charts, okay, or basically, let's say the employee details, okay. So how many of what happens in this particular organization is that uh, for employees or basically for the site engineers, which I think they might be the mechanical engineers, for them, the training happens on a regular period. Okay. And there's also one particular visual uh, in our dashboard wherein we'll determine, I mean, how many employees attended that, for how many employees, I mean, this still needs to happen. Okay. So these kind of metrics is what we create. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
when we
your
talk about the
tasks.
domain, currently I'm working in the domain related to operations, but I have also worked on the sales domain and also the financial domain. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So you are creating report on top of the view, and those view are created by data engineers. And so your data source in which format? Like those files are in Parquet format or like which format?
Come again? You mean the original source?
Yeah, yeah. Original source, no. Like you are getting data in which format? Uh, those
I'm getting
file
the
format.
data. Yeah, I'm getting the data from Synapse Data Lake.
Okay. So those are
Views.
in simple
Okay.
CS views.
Yeah. No, not the
Oh,
CSV. Okay. All I need to do is, look, I'll tell you what. We are here in Power BI. Okay. And if we want to connect to, let's say, Synapse Data Lake. Okay. So here I just need to type Azure, sorry, Azure, let's say Synapse. Okay. So you see here, the Azure Synapse Analytics SQL is what I need to connect with. Okay. And then it'll ask me to enter the server and database. Okay.
mm,
So once I do that, I'll be taken to that database where I can choose the view that I want to bring it into Power BI. So this is how it happens. Clear?
you are getting all the databases and which table you required, you are choosing those tables, right?
Yes. Whatever tables or views that I want, I will choose and bring it into Power BI. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
And
and
you
it-
are,
it's not like this always. Sometimes what happens is the view that I'm looking for or the correct view that I'm looking for doesn't exist there. So I have to write the SQL query. So that's also a thing. Okay.
okay, okay.
So ETL team, what they do, or basically the data engineers, what they do is they create some standard tables. Okay. And if my requirement is completely, my requirement of the dashboard is satisfied by one particular table, then I'll get that. But however, if I need the table which needs multiple columns from multiple tables, then I'll have to write the SQL query. Okay.
Yeah, to join those tables
Yeah,
and you are getting, okay,
exactly. So that also happens. Yeah.
okay. And those ये donut chart and ये pie chart kind of things you are getting in your requirement, or you can choose whatever you want.
Look, I'll tell you what will happen. Okay. So let's say we are doing any new project. Okay. So this is usually decided by the business end. Okay. And when I say the business end, for me, the business end is the dedicated manufacturing team. Okay. And they tell me that they want the data in this form or this form. Because the thing is, they are also not new into this anymore. Okay. They have been working with uh, in association with the BI engineers for many years now. So they also, right now, my client, or basically the business, and they also know what kind of visuals they are looking for. So they directly tell me, we are looking for this kind of chart or that kind of chart. So yeah, that is there. It is informed by them in the requirement analysis meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. Those are site engineer, you say, right?
Yeah. In my case, they are
Okay.
site engineers, but in some other cases, they might be, I mean, the engineers from the pharmaceutical organizations. Previously, I worked even for them. And yeah, so they will be having their own requirements. And if they are clueless onto what kind of visuals they want, they will certainly take your help. And you can definitely tell them you can provide this kind of analysis for this data, and you can definitely help them with that as well. Yeah.
So they are sending you a sample of data, like they are want in this form, or they
They will
just
send me the PPTs. Okay.
PPTs.
They
Okay.
will send me the PPTs. I mean, those will be static PPTs, and they'll just tell me they want this kind of. I mean, for this they'll create some particular template within PPT, and they'll directly send me that. Okay, and the PPT will not be just having the visuals, but it will be having all the requirements, like how it should filter. I mean, what exact value they are looking for. So all the details will be in the PPT.
Oh, okay, okay. What exactly they want in your data also they are sending. Like these
Exactly.
data they actually wanted. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So that
Yeah.
will be there. But yeah, before sending the PPT, there'll be also a meeting called as a requirement analysis meeting. So yeah, so there everything will be discussed, and yeah, the dedicated team will work on their own domains, and ultimately it will be a complete dashboard with the help of the business and the backend team, ETL engineers, and ultimately the Power BI developers. So that's how it is. Okay.
So, sir, any prerequisites like before we learn to Power BI, we need to learn SQL or anything like we need to
Yeah.
learn before?
See, the SQL is always helpful. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
SQL is always helpful for you to get the required data in Power BI. So SQL, I would say, is mandatory. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And also, it will be also helpful for you to understand the data warehousing concepts. Okay. Because if you don't understand the data warehouse, I mean, and they are not some very complex stuffs. Okay. They're easy things, but you need to understand them. You need to do your research, and you need to understand the data warehousing concepts. Okay. The things like what is primary key, what is foreign key, what is composite key, what is surrogate key. Okay. What are the
Mm-hmm.
primary key constraints? What are the fact tables? What are the dimension tables? What is the normalization? What is the denormalized tables? All these concepts, if you understand that, then that will be really helpful for you to do the analysis in Power BI. Okay, so that's helpful. Yeah, always.
Or any other tool and tools and technology we need in as a data analyst, apart from that Power BI and data warehousing and SQL. Apart from this,
See, I'll tell you what. Data analysis itself is one technique. Okay, and when I say analysis, it's not just about the building the dashboard. Okay, what will happen? People will be easily able to build the dashboard, but the thing is data validation, right? Whether the backend data is matching with the front end or not, or if something is not matching, that's when the analysis part comes into picture. You need to understand why the backend data is not matching with the front end, or why you are not getting the data that is kind of available in the front end. Okay, so this is what the data analysis is, and it is actually kind of a techniques, or you need to understand certain things. So data analysis, it comes only with the practice. I mean, I cannot explain what it exactly is,
okay.
because based on particular
Yeah.
situation, the data
Mhm.
analysis demands certain things. So data analysis also is a thing, but again, it doesn't depend on one particular tool. Data analysis can be done even within Excel, within SQL Server, within Power BI as well. But yeah, that's the main requirement actually. Okay.
Okay. Data validation and those visualization is just a part of right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And we
visualization,
need to
it's
go.
a part, but ultimately visualization is the one thing which we show to the business end, right? So it's very important thing. But
Mhm.
yeah, the data analysis also is very, very important. If you're not good in data analysis or data validation, then you will be having hard time as a BI developer.
Oh. Okay, okay. Thank you, sir. That's now I'm good clarity. Like,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Fine, then, we'll continue this in the next upcoming classes. So let me stop the recording first.